Welcome back everyone. The hype surrounding him was incredibly high entering this season, but I think we can all agree that Victor Wembanyama has been living up to it so far. Up until this point, the guy has been putting up 20.5 points, 8 rebounds, over 1 steal, and 1 block per game, all while shooting a fairly decent 48.9% from the field. Not a bad number considering the fact that he's a rookie who's still figuring out the NBA. However, it really goes far beyond the numbers alone here. The impact that Wembanyama is making has been much greater than anybody truly expected, and you really can't get a feel for it unless you watch him actually play. I mean, there are not many rookies that legitimately make teams game plan against them, and especially not on defense like Wemby does. I have watched a number of players drive towards the paint, only to see Wembanyama waiting for them either at the rim or as a help defender, and then immediately pass out to a teammate on the three-point line. You simply don't get that from many rookies. And again, it's not like he is only making an impact in one or two areas. Wembanyama is legitimately impacting the entire game on both ends of the court. I mean, the guy does something every game that literally makes your jaw drop. From snatch blocking OG Anunoby during their last game, to dropping 38 points on Kevin Durant in the Suns the game before that one, to simply the way he moves on the court, you can hardly believe you're watching a real player out there. And I think Kevin Durant said it best. Following their latest game against each other, KD was asked about who Wembanyama reminded him of, which he then replied nobody, and that he's really his own player.
I've heard a lot of times people compare Victor Wembanyama to you if you were like 6 inches taller or something like that. Do you see that in his game? What do you think about the way he plays?
I don't see anybody else in this game. I know we both skinny, and I'm sure he said he watched me growing up, but he's his own player. I don't think I'm sure he watched so many great players in the league and try to emulate just about everybody. You could tell in his enthusiasm for the game. You know, you could tell that through the TV and playing against him. So he's his own player person. He's gonna create his own lane. Is much different than anybody who's ever played. And you can try to compare, but he's going to carve out his own lane.
I know we tend to make comparisons with pretty much every young player nowadays, but I tend to agree with Kevin Durant here. I mean, sure, you can draw a comparison to the body type between him and a guy like Manute Bol, or even KD himself, but you won't find anybody quite like Victor Wembanyama. And while I'm sure he'll drop 30 plus points again many times throughout his career, I have been by far the most impressed by his defense, and that was with me even expecting that to be his #1 strength for him this season. Whether you're talking about the numbers, which include him averaging 4 combined blocks and steals per game, or simply the eye test, which will show you his ability to legitimately switch 1 through 5 on defense, you have a guy who can do pretty much everything on defense. And not only that, but he's primarily been able to do it without getting in foul trouble. Up until this point, Wemby has only averaged 2.5 fouls per game, or even if you want to round that up to per 36-minute average, he would still only be collecting around 3 of them per game. And really think about that for a second. The guy is blocking over 1 shot for every 1 foul that he commits, and then if you want to include steals in that, he is either blocking or stealing the ball away 2 times for every 1 foul that he commits. Another thing to note here is how often he gets deflections. He is currently 13th in the entire league in deflections per game, collecting 3.3 of them per contest. Again, you won't find many guys who can do what he can on defense, and with how many mistakes the young team around him tends to make on defense, Wembanyama has been able to cover a lot of that up. Moving on to offense though, I think we have all been pretty impressed with him here as well. Even putting points per game aside, the guys look extremely confident out there. I mean, the game plan for a lot of teams so far has been to let him shoot, and while that would typically be pretty darn effective for a 7'4" rookie, Wembanyama has not been shy in taking them. He's already attempted 32 total 3-point shots, and then has only had 2 games where he's made under 2 of them. Now I know we are talking about a very limited sample here, but regardless, I think it's a good representation of what he can eventually become, both in the short term and long term future as well. However, shooting ability alone is definitely not the only thing they've shown us. We all knew that he would be the ultimate lob threat, but he's shown a really good touch around the rim for somebody that big. And if Wembanyama can become an efficient 3-level scorer, then there will be literally nothing you can do to stop him. Kind of scary to think about, and even more terrifying when you realize that he's not that far away from it at only 19 years old. In my opinion, we are likely talking about the Rookie of the Year here. And don't get me wrong, Chet Holmgren has been incredible, and will surely be helped by the fact that his team will likely win more games compared to the Spurs, but Victor Wembanyama is simply different. Whether you are talking about the numbers, the eye test, or however you want to evaluate the guy, you would have a hard time not being impressed. And I think the most impressive part might even be the way he acts off the court, and I'll let you hear about it from his head coach Greg Popovich.
I think one has to be careful not to assume that you have the answers. It's just like your children, or you don't know how they're really going to end up. But this young man has already been taught many important lessons. He understands the priorities. He's not fazed by the hype or anything like that. His parents already did the job with him. So I just have to not screw it up.
Again, I don't know how you could not be impressed by Victor Wembanyama. The guy appears to be a picture-perfect young player, and he's really only getting started. With all of that being said though, what do you guys think? How do you feel about Victor Wembanyama so far? Comment your thoughts down below. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to those of you who took the time to watch until the end of this video, and until the end of all of my videos in general. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.